Hey everyone, welcome to Dads of Creation, the maiden voyage, first episode. I'm Gandad Dwight, and this is a place for parents who love gaming but also have to deal with real life aggro, kids, work, everything in between. Everything in between. If you're a parent who games, you know the struggle. One minute you're deep in a dungeon, the next you're AFK or breaking up a PvP battle in the living room. Ashes of Creation is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious MMOs ever. I want to build a community of like minded gamers who are just as excited as I am, whether you're a hardcore grinder or just have to sneak a few hours in between parental duties. Tonight, we're going to dive into the world of Vera, looking at race and class, checking out what makes this game different um, from other MMOs, and of course, talking about how Dads of Creation fits into the busy life of a gaming dad. So grab a drink, drop a dad in chat if you're here, and let's get into it.
Awesome, man. So, again, thank you for providing a little space for parents to kind of chit chat about their struggles playing Ashes as parents versus other MMOs, man. I don't think we've seen that around yet too much. So it's definitely a challenge, when you have a bunch of time doing some stuff with the kids and everything else to find people that you can game with that understand and respect your time when it takes 30 minutes to go across the beautiful Riverlands.
Yep,
Yeah, it's nice to meet others like that. So
it is.
I think some of the topics, to go over to kind of see what everybody wants to be about is who you are. I think that and any chatters that come in or viewers, drop a comment in the YouTube. Um, kind of let us know who you are playing Ashes, what server, stuff like that. Why Ashes of Creation? Why Ashes of Creation versus a more casual MMO? Um, why would parents come to this beautiful landscape of time value and everything when they can go to a quick dive into a dungeon, fly here, teleport there, and what foundation this is going to bring to Ashes, why the stream exists. I think that's a pretty good topic to go over.
Yeah,
We'll go over some parent-friendly mechanics. I think will be pretty good. Kind of like farm spots, hour little long stuff like that, patch notes that might be beneficial to parents, like voting with your phone or making sure you can kind of check the bank, or if there's ever a mail system within the nodes, maybe you could check that on your
yeah,
phone. Who knows? That'd be kind of some stuff to see.
yeah,
Community engagement. I definitely a lot of streams they don't really bring the chatters in anymore. You see a bunch of numbers in streams and stuff, and not a lot of people come into the Discord to really chat about their time or co-host. I think kind of having like maybe a permanent co-host of community engagement might be nice. Every episode you have a new co-host.
yeah. That'd
I
be
think
cool.
that'd be kind of cool. Kind of get more experiences and stuff. Ask some of the same questions, some new ones. Um, Gaming with kids, that's experience that I've never been a part of. I got my fish. I just fed him today, so try to get some
Yeah.
pictures of him. He was being stubborn.
Did you
He went underneath
take
the
them for a walk?
shadow and yeah, I'll take him for a walk actually. It's really cold outside, show him what it's like
Yeah.
outside and not in the, 85-degree weather he has in his tank. So
Right.
I definitely want to know what it's like to have a first experience when, your child becomes better than you in a game or when he never becomes better than you in a game. I think and the comparison of those games, I think that's pretty magical. I think that's something every parent kind of waits for that games, especially considering 20 years ago we were nerds for playing Halo, and
Right.
now everybody games. So whole different world out there. I think Ash's creation specifics are real nice. I think he's reworded. We don't see elves, dwarves. We don't see um, berserker. We don't see. We see fighter, but then we also see tank. Like the class is not a paladin, right? It
Yeah.
might be one later, but it is literally
Yep.
called tank 1 through 25. And and I think if you combine it, it's called the same thing. I'm not sure, but it's just very unique of Intrepid to just say tank. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, it
MMO
removes the
nostalgia.
whole what
Yeah,
role do
go
you
ahead.
play, yada yada yada. Which is a
Yeah.
nice
Well,
streamlining effect, I think.
yeah, I think it's funny, because it's like when you're in WoW or like other popular games and stuff, it's like looking for healer, right? And there's like maybe two or three classes that could heal. So that's
Right.
very broad, right? In this game, there's one class that can heal, and that's the cleric. There's one class that's designed to tank, and it's the tank. So in looking for group, you say looking for healer and tank like you would in a normal MMO. And in this
Mhm.
one, you just say looking for cleric and tank. So it's like half a role play. It's like looking for this class, even though everybody
Yeah.
knows what it does, and tank. And then you just cut the RP part out. So, it's kind of cool the differences there. And
Yeah.
then go over like some verses, the other MMOs and all this stuff. Also, one of my biggest things that I'm super excited to hopefully watch with a co-host that you can find from the chatters and stuff is the MMO nostalgia and experience. So the history of MMOs.
Yeah.
I would love to see that evolution of MMOs, to be able to kind of watch that in my own time or some come into some live events for ones that I'm pretty, excited about or ones that I took serious.
Yeah.
Um, like that would really be something to kind of watch the history of MMOs and then follow the history of Ashes live through testing phases,
Yeah.
to be rewarded that from Steven and Intrepid, that opportunity to live the history of development, not only the whole history of live to expansions to whatever else is going on, to be able to give us the prequel, to live the prequel
Mhm.
and have those original stories is an amazing opportunity, So going over
Yep.
the history, I think you're really going to capture that amazingly within Ashes as well, kind of going back and forth between history of Ashes and history of other MMOs. I think it's going to be a really magical perspective there. After that, we'll try to bring in some chatters, if anybody's
Yeah, that'll
hanging
be
out,
cool.
have them ask some questions and stuff. Um, so after that, man, let's get to it. You ready?
I certainly am.
All right, man, let's give us an introduction, who you are, gaming background, some experiences with MMOs, and games you and your kids play.
Yeah, sure, man. So, as far as gaming background goes, MMO specific anyway, I played World of Warcraft for 5 or 6 years. Had a good time with that. Played with a real good group of people. And I played EVE Online for I think 12 years. That was a way different experience, but had a blast with that for a long time. Um, Probably my favorite MMO experience was there was a huge battle in EVE Online. It was so big that the devs put a like a ship graveyard in like as an in-game asset, which like to memorialize that event, which I thought was super cool. As far
To
as
have a
games I play
permanent
with,
mark inside of
oh yeah,
another world. Like
oh yeah,
nobody knows about that world until they've opened a portal into the Eve realm. Like I didn't know that existed until just now from a
yeah,
story. So to have that entire world exist within our own world and to have something that has that value, even though it's digital, is almost more valuable than having a little stone out in the middle of the field somewhere that nobody knows about. Everybody knows about that site now, that
yeah,
plays Eve. And now even I heard about it and I don't play Eve. Like
yep,
that's the kind of magical experiences that games can bring in made up worlds. Like that right there is just that
exactly.
is, the pure magic of MMOs and games like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's not a thing that you find in other genres of games. You know,
It's
you
not.
don't
Not
find
unless
you
the
just don't find
creators
it.
can. Yeah, not unless the creators force it, and kind of
Right.
don't stick to the trend of making it fast travel money trend. When they force a player engagement, you get real stories like that. It's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it's specifically with the fast travel stuff, you miss out on so much of the game itself, right? So,
Oh, yeah, a lot.
so I like the lack of fast travel in AOC.
Absolutely. So, what kind of games do your kids play?
So he mostly plays competitive Fortnite. He's really good at that, and he's a big fan of the various Souls games and Cyberpunk, and
He's playing
plays.
Souls. Well,
Oh yeah,
I have to. If you're okay with it, right? Just want to make sure you're okay. If what age is he?
he's 13. He's
13
13.
playing Souls. How long has he
Oh
been
yeah.
playing Souls?
Oh, probably like 2 years.
2 years.
Maybe not. Maybe
That's a
not
tough
quite
game.
two. He started off with
You're fine.
Elden Ring right when it came out, and he's
Okay.
on like New Game Plus 4 or something. He played the shit out of
Okay.
that one, and then
Yeah.
after that one, go ahead, bud.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, after that he played the Dark Souls specific games and Sekiro, and that's his bag. That's his jam. So plays a little PGA
I
Tour with me. He's better at that than I am too. Like all the other games we play, I can't beat him at really any game anymore. So
Yeah, until he starts playing Ashes, then you got him.
Yeah, yeah, I hope I can get him into the MMO thing.
Yeah, if he's playing Souls and games like that and Sekiro and stuff,
Yeah,
that's he's spoiled, man. Not like from a spoiled standpoint, but you got to think when we were his age, we were playing WoW and
yeah,
MMOs like that, you know.
yeah,
His graphics and the gameplay on those games are like, I mean, that's premier gaming, right?
yeah,
Like
it
that's
really is.
top tier games and experiences, man. So
Yeah,
he's gonna have high expectations for the future. So that makes me think
right.
game developers are gonna have to come out and provide those expectations of the youth in 10, 20 years, you know? What are those
Oh, yeah, for
expectations gonna
sure,
look like? Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So I do want to ask, man, why
sure.
Ashes of Creation?
Well,
Why
honestly, I hadn't
you know,
even
with all the
hadn't even
time environments?
okay. Yeah, so, honestly, I hadn't even heard about Ashes, until right before I started playing it. I was watching an interview with, Thor from Pirate Software, which I'm a pretty big fan of his. He makes good content, I think, and it was, during this interview, Steven was talking about how it's a he has a like a player's first mentality, and there's not gonna be any play to win, and I think that those items specifically, are really something that the gaming industry has lost track of in recent years, man. It's turned into, like, this money-grubbing corporate mess, and, like, I mean, when you listen to Steven talk about his game or other games that he's played, you can tell that, like, he all the way down on the inside, he's a gamer for sure, and I can really appreciate that, so I was like, before I even really knew much about Ashes, I was like, "Man, I like what this guy's about. I wanna support this project." So, I went looking around a little bit, watched some YouTube videos, read some stuff on the website, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm in." So, here we are.
Just a few YouTube videos is what sold it. You're like, yep, time, environment, early
Yeah,
access, you know, one man's dream. Nobody really telling them what to do besides us. Like this
yep,
is, you know, like this is it. Like this is the game the way it's supposed to be built, right? The
I
journey
agree.
from start to finish, you know, from
Yep,
start to release to the stories beyond. It is the journey, right? It
yeah,
doesn't matter if it's 10 years, 5 years, right? Like this is the
sure,
MMO, it's free to roam, you know. I think I think, you know, just being allowed to be in that journey really is just that again that magic, dude. Um,
yeah.
so why did you want to really create this stream? You know, why a pocket of time a week or every 2 weeks or you know, what's is it a foundation for anything? Do you want to kind of provide something for it? You know, what kind of advantages and stuff do you want to provide the community with this stream?
Sure, man, I mean, I wanna build a space for, parents that also game. I mean, not that I don't wanna play with people that aren't parents, certainly, because I play with you, you know? And, your fish isn't in school yet, so
Yeah, not yet, not yet. I don't know if I can teach it the
yeah,
buttons like dogs. We'll have to figure something out. Maybe colors.
yeah, something,
Something, yeah.
but, and I wanna, get a Discord together where we can get all the information, together in one place. Because when you're when you're real short on time, which you are always as a parent, you may not have time to sit in general for 2 hours trying to find your sticks or your charcoal or your skins or whatever it is that you're after um, for your crafting stuff, and be able to set up groups and everything, without having to try to fish through, like, the in-game chats and stuff, because that can be kinda long, um,
Yeah.
and
Unfortunately, in Alpha, it's kind of just a straightforward, you know, global chat.
yeah,
Like, you know, he definitely, I mean, he gave us, you know, what, one, two, three, four, five features in chat for
mhm,
Alpha, you know, so he organized it for us, right, which is really
mhm,
good. And really, what one thing that fascinated me though in the global is the copy and paste thing, you know, like he allowed us to be able to copy and paste for like, you know, he made it kind of easy for us. But
yeah,
even then, you know, you're looking at travel times, right? And the
mhm,
best thing is trying to get a group when you know it's a 30-minute, you know, car ride home, and then 30 minutes to take care of the kids, 30 minutes to give some attention to the spouse,
yeah,
30 minutes for dinner. You're like, okay, so in 2.5 hours, I can get this group together. I'm logged out at this node, you know, and everybody's like,
yeah,
okay, You know what I mean? We'll help you out. I'll get some consumables for you while you're taking care of the kids, bouncing around, right? Like that
Right.
kind of
Oh,
magic,
yeah.
man, could really, I mean, really, if you guys had that kind of coordination, you could be just as competitive as some of the top guilds. Really, if you guys, stayed in
Yeah.
contact and kind of substituted time for each other, yeah, I think that community gets built, man. I think it could be just as successful as a true hardcore guild. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of efficiency, right? The less time
Yeah,
you have to spend in game trying to find your group or trying to do this or trying to do
organizing.
that.
Yep,
Yeah. If we can do that outside of the server, like on a Discord or whatever, then that maximizes the amount of playtime that the busy parents will get, which is what you want. I mean, you work all
absolutely.
day, come home, take care of your kids and stuff. The last thing you want to do is spend your relatively limited time trying to put a group together. If you can log straight into the game and have your people ready to go, I think that would really help to streamline everything from the perspective of a busy person, not necessarily a parent specifically, but any person that's real busy, I think that would be great for.
Absolutely. And that could be multi-guild. That could just be, hey guys, it's a pug group. We're getting some experience, right?
Yeah,
Requirements are like a potion, maybe not a scroll, like lower requirements, level this, level that,
yeah,
something casual. Maybe it's not the top end content, right? But it's the
right.
content, you know? But yeah, getting organized like that, man, I mean, really, I mean, I could see it now. Like I could almost see it,
Oh yeah.
painted and visualized, people that really are coordinated in the Discord to like genuinely look out for each other in the same foundation
Hmm.
like that. Yeah, dude, I think it could be dangerous in game too. Not just fun and coordinated and a lasting environment. I think that's really gonna take hold pretty quick. But to think competitively in game as well, I think it has some advantages. Right, which I
Oh
really,
yeah,
really
for
think it
sure,
does.
for sure.
For sure, man. Um, so some ashes of creation and dad-friendly mechanics, parent-friendly mechanics, mom-friendly mechanics, right? What are some things you can do while you're, might be holding a kid or, you got to go break up that PvP fight, whether in game or out of game.
Yeah, yeah,
So
right.
what are some of those mechanics, man?
Well, I think some of the mechanics that are really going to lean to, like, say, like some of the gathering professions, like fishing specifically, is great for quasi AFK gameplay. You come home from work, yeah, you get your fishing pole out, you toss it in the water, then you can go, work on the dinner or work on homework with with the kids or whatever, and come back. And as long as your bags aren't full and you don't time out after the 15-minute, I think it's 15 minutes, isn't it? The timeout before it automatically logs you.
I don't want to say I know exactly how long it is because that might give away some cues. I think it's 30 minutes because
Oh,
fishing is
okay.
about 30 minutes. Um, but I think he's trying to reduce it or increase it. Like his biggest thing is botting, right? So, you
Yeah,
know, he wants you to be able to fish an AFK. Like he made that, he made his Stevens way of that statement
yeah,
to provide that time for parents, and stuff. So I think it's about 30 minutes, and I think it might be longer for AFK. So I'm not
okay,
sure on that. I think fishing's 30 and AFK might be a little bit longer.
yeah. And that's like anything else in an alpha that's subject to change.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
but he has provided ample time for AFK during alpha. It is definitely
cool.
it is definitely a pretty good it is ample amount of time. Yeah.
Yep, yep. I think it'll be really good.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the sporting events though. Like you go halfway across the place and then you got a sporting event for fishing.
Yeah,
And then you gotta leave, that could be the only thing. So, but I could see an army of
yeah.
parents going, you know. I could see
Yeah,
50 of them coordinating at the same time for a fishing tournament and then being in Discord saying, okay, my kid's crying, guys, watch me out. And everybody's in
yeah,
chat, like, okay, so and so's AFK, right? They're all just fishing, right? But if any PvP pops off, they know who's not there. So I could see like a whole bunch of different guild parents getting together. I don't know. To me it's kind of cool that they came to, you could come if you could come together for that foundation alone, not just like
yeah,
I PvE, I PvP, I pick up flowers, I like to trade, but like, okay,
yeah,
guys, we need to do this and look out for each other. Let's
yeah,
go
for
to
sure.
the yeah, I could see that, dude, and it's I think that's a great
Yeah.
foundation to have, man, to build it off
Yeah,
of
for sure.
something more than just gathering.
Yeah, and having a group of people that is understanding and sympathetic to, like I said earlier, sometimes you gotta get up and get away from the keyboard to manage your household a little bit, and sometimes the group, you're just gonna have to wait for a few minutes because family comes first, you know, and, alright, the tank has to go change a dirty diaper or whatever the case may be. We're gonna guard him for a minute and make sure he doesn't get ganked or the mobs don't get on him while he's away, and,
Yeah, maybe have the fighter take
yeah.
over a pool, test his ego out.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So, what about crafting and gathering? You know, how do you guys think you could coordinate on that on a kind of like a distance level and through the discords and stuff?
Yeah. So with the crafting and the gathering, like the crafting specifically, once you get a little higher level in your crafting, it takes a little bit of time, you know. Um, I'm thinking like an hour long short bursts, right? So say the group needs, I don't know, Grim skins, for example, or Willow or whatever is in high demand at the time. We'll get together, get the thing done, disperse the materials to the people who need it, and just make it a team effort to try to get everything done. Because specific in MMOs, but in Ashes specifically, um, you can't do everything, right? You just can't. It's just
Yeah,
too
he
big of a game.
Steven Steven forces us to work as a team, as an MMO
Yeah,
should be. Every
yeah.
system down to DPS, down to crafting, down to
Oh, hi,
gathering,
son. Hey,
everything.
Dad.
Absolutely.
My son just got home.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. So
You about
so
to
the
game out?
balance. Oh, I have no doubt. I'm sure he's going to
Hell
be
yeah.
as he calls making little kids cry on on
Making little
Fortnite.
kids cry. That's good. At least that term has not changed from Call of Duty days. So that's
Oh
good.
no, no.
That's really good.
You know, as much as the industry has changed, there's still we still got some hangers on from back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, right?
Yeah, yeah. Back when the FPS was half or a quarter of what it is now,
Oh, if you were
you know.
lucky.
Yeah, or cardboard boxes to play your friends over your head so you could split screen without cheating.
Oh, yep,
I don't know
for
if you ever
sure.
done that one. LAN parties, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
like these are
we'd
the things that I'm looking forward to your history one.
oh yeah,
The MMO
we'd
history
take
thing.
a
Like I
piece of
can't
cardboard
LAN
and tape
parties.
it to the yeah, we'd take a piece of cardboard and tape it to the middle of the screen if we were playing the fighting
Yep.
games or whatever, so we could then you have to sit, you know,
Yeah.
10 inches from the screen, make your eyes bleed, but we got it
Yeah.
done.
Now we're putting the screens right on our eyes with the goggles. Who would have known?
Yeah,
So
it's Brave New
yeah,
World,
I do remember those. Yeah.
as Aldous Huxley would say, Brave New World.
Yeah. So what about PvP, right? So
Why,
so
why is it
typically
showing you getting
when
up?
MMOs,
Give me
so
just a few
typically
minutes,
when
bud.
MM,
Okay.
Go ahead.
no, you're good. Does he want to answer the question too? So I gotta ask
I
him, man. One or
he
two,
was
probably at the
he,
end.
he was asking me about something on my desk, but I wasn't sure what he said. I got noise canceling headphones on, so
Oh, it was like muffled and stuff. Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So for parents, right? A lot of times people typically they're just like, parents, time, kids, right? A lot of them
yeah,
they immediately assume that they don't have the time to play an MMO, right? And that kind of
yeah,
shies them away from some video games or it's like, I want to play
yeah,
something
sure,
appropriate for my kids to watch. Um how do you plan on having a PvP, a fun engaging PvP in Ashes when we understand how the
sure.
crafting system works versus extremely hardcore players. How would you
Mhm.
create that environment, to still have fun in a casual player environment for some parents?
Right. So when you're looking at like specifically one-on-one PvP, right? So when you're looking on that, excuse me, when you're looking at that, um, it kind of boils down to whoever spent the most hours grinding and has the best gear is probably going to win that fight, right? And my thoughts are if we can get um, for each class a set of gear together that's comparable to the gear of the opponent, then it turns into a skill based tournament. as opposed to a time-based tournament, right? Whoever spent the most time grinding out the gear, and, I think that that'd be super cool.
Yeah, that's kind of even the playing field, get a little like show going, or maybe like a Friday
Mhm.
night duels for the family, make sure everybody shows up. Maybe
Yeah.
have your son, take over the keyboard, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, in a fair fight, right? It's just
Oh,
like
you
playing
guys would be
Call
in
of Duty.
trouble. I'm telling you
Oh
right
yeah.
now, if I gi
Yeah.
if I give my boy the mouse and keyboard, you guys are in trouble. He's a beast.
In a fair fight,
Yeah.
right? So, like I think that's really, really good. You can kind of, that way you still get the thrill of
Yeah.
PvP in Ashes, but you could still get the exploration that you want from Ashes without having to
Yeah.
involve yourself in kind of like, some of that high end, sweatier PvP that's going to be a little
Yeah.
bit, top end, right? Because
Right,
most of
for
those
sure.
guys, it's just a time thing, right? But given, I
Yeah.
think that'd be a really, really good show, man, to have like a tournament system, a ladder.
Mhm.
Um, that'd be amazing, man. That's a good
Yeah.
idea, dude.
Yeah. Like, probably the barrier to entry to getting this thing going, I would say, is getting all the gear together, right? Because we'll have to
Yeah,
have
well,
a tank set of gear, have to have a fighter set of gear. Um
yeah, well, everybody would have that. Then you'd probably have like, a lot of people would farm, say, Seth Tower, all right, or the Forge.
Mhm.
And while you guys are farming that, you could just be like, oh, hey, that's the dungeon gear. Let's get this dungeon gear sets. Let's get,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Instead of selling them, right? Because
Right.
what you're gonna do is you're just gonna turn that money into something else anyway. But the
Yeah, for sure.
show. So yeah, you could kind of just take that, and it doesn't have to be enchanted or nothing. But yeah, I could see it. I could
Yeah,
definitely see that working.
I think it'll be super cool, and I think it's gonna help to, um, make a larger percentage of the content available to a larger percentage of the player base, right?
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
you don't have to have 200 hours, of grinding dungeons to get the gear to be competitive PvP wise, and, I
Absolutely.
think once it's up and running, I think it's really gonna take off.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good, man.
Yeah.
Kind of, still give that thrill of, the Friday night fight night,
Yep.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be
Yeah, I think
good.
that'll be cool.
Um, so for other, I mean, that's community engagement, man. Already, bringing some chatters in, right? They can, make sure that everybody on stream's not gonna steal the gear, make sure it's not super enchanted or worth a bunch, right? But
Yeah.
other than that kind of community engagement in game, what about community engagement in the stream? Um, do you? I know you were talking about that. What are your plans on that?
Um, well, I want any of the viewers to be able to engage with the group in game, right? Because like if somebody's watching streams, it's a social, or you know what I mean? It's a social process for
It's
them.
just a portal to hang out in the same living room, but
Yeah,
also the
for
different
sure.
living room. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, technology has come so far in the past few years that it's now possible to, in effect, right? Um, it's like gaming next to somebody, right? Because of all the
yeah,
streaming capacity, the Discord, and all these other things, and
yeah. Super easy. A phone. I can be at
yeah,
Walmart and stream on Discord to you guys and be like, dude, what snack should I get for the raid? Like
right,
it's
no
that
doubt.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could just turn it on and see you guys. Yeah.
yeah, I think it'll be cool for sure.
Yes. So I would love to ask a couple questions.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
To anybody in chat and in the YouTube descriptions. I love being able to read through some YouTube descriptions, kind of reevaluate. Sometimes I'm like, oh, where's this notification at? I go through YouTube and I'm like, oh, this was, from a while ago. This was from 3 years ago. And I'll comment on it and somebody will be surprised that I'm still around. They're like, oh, I didn't know this, so I can give that excitement to somebody again, halfway around the
Oh,
world.
for sure.
Um, so how do you balance um, gaming with family time, right? So how are you gonna like with the immersion that you talked about with Ashes and that love of the time spent in the game? How do you
Hmm.
balance that immersion with work, family
Right.
responsibilities? You know?
Well, eventually, I'm hoping to get my son into the MMO side of gaming because I think that once he gets there and gets used to it, he'll like it. But um, like right now at his age, he thinks it's a little bit slow, right? He likes the running and the gunning still, where
Yeah.
I'm a little more laid back than that now in my old age, right?
Yeah, yeah. I started to too once I turned about 30. So that's when I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
started wanting to slow down, enjoy a
and
little bit more.
everything, you know,
Everything, yeah,
slow down at
everything, yeah.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I try to chop up blocks of time, right? So I have X amount of time that I'll do this, and then so my son's computer that he games on is on the other side of the living room, and I'll play for a little bit, and I'll set a little timer up or whatever, and then I'll go watch him play for a little bit, and try to get together and play some of the games that we both enjoy, like PGA Tour or whatever, and it's just probably the biggest part is not launching into something that I know is going to take 4 hours if I only have 2 hours of game time, right? Trying to
So so
manage the input.
organization beforehand.
Yeah. Yep.
Kinda like how you and I, like, even on a lunch break, it's a quick phone call, right? Because we both
Yeah.
got time. I'm sitting in a pug group, grinding away, right? Talking to you
Yeah.
at work, and we're planning something out. I'm typing
Yep.
on screen number 2, sending it to you. I mean, like, we don't have to fly to go see each other,
Yeah.
right? So that organization before is your key. Getting
Correct.
all that stuff beforehand to plan the trip ride, the trip home, the commute home, who you going to team up with. So I could see how you really want to bring that to the community, man. Like if you
Yeah.
that's to me that's amazing. And if you do that and you want to do that for other people, man, I think
Yeah.
that's great because you do it now. It's smooth. I mean, we have that connection there all the
Mhm.
time, man, during lunch breaks. So, um, yeah, I think you bringing that to the community is a great thing. I think that's yeah. I think that would really help the
Yeah.
uh,
I think we
parents. Yeah.
once we start getting people involved, I think it'll really take off because it'll make the whole gaming experience a lot easier for busy people. I mean, to circle back to what we said kind of in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, man. Um, I think yeah, that's perfect, dude.
Yeah.
I can just see it
Thanks.
working, dude. I can see myself text messaging for everything. So,
Oh yeah.
um, do you have a set gaming schedule, right? So you talked about where you cut out those pockets.
Mhm.
Um, I know that sometimes you work and sometimes, you're the guy that saves the day, man, right? Like you're the guy that goes fixes like the fundamental things, right? Inside the
Yeah.
structural homes and stuff, man. It's a pretty big thing, especially with storms and stuff, right? You're kind of with electricians, first responders, it's a big deal, right? You provide one of the needs. So how do you balance that with that schedule? Do you have to take off of work? Do you have to change work schedules? Just that's curious to me, man, like the balance.
Well, so I work on what's called a 3-2 split. So my schedule flip-flops every other week, and I just, I know when obviously, I know when my son's gonna be home, and I know when I'll be at work, and I know when the realms are up or when the realms are down, and, kind of at the beginning of the week, I try to put together, like, a little mind map of, how I'm gonna spend those hours throughout the course of the week and do my best to stick to that, although admittedly, I may not always, go fold the laundry when I have planned to do so, but, you know, we live and
Yeah,
grow, you know what I mean?
we'll have AI robots for that soon, I think, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm ready.
Okay.
I hate folding laundry.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see
Yeah.
what they give us. So,
Come on, Elon. I'm ready for my
yeah,
robot.
come on, Elon, dude. Oh, I wonder if I could teach you how to play Ashes. Is that breaking terms of service? Is that botting? I don't know. We'll
Ooh,
have to
that's a good
figure out.
question. That's a good
Yeah,
question.
that's a question. That's a question for episode 2. That's a
Yeah. Well, yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
leave it there. We're gonna go too deep.
yeah, no
Um,
doubt. We'll save it for another
so what?
day.
Another day,
Yeah.
or more probably. What's uh, what's the funniest or most like frustrating time you had AFK? Because of dad duties, right? Like I could
Yeah.
imagine, my fish jumping out of his tank and I hear it, you know what I mean? And then I die, right? In ashes inside of like Forge.
Right.
And I'm the only healer. That would really get to me because I'm the guy
Yeah.
running back, right? So, what's any funny ones or any frustrating ones?
Um, probably on the frustrating side was when it first happened that I couldn't beat him at any games, right? I was like, "What the hell?" Because the whole time, he was growing up, old dad didn't let him win. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
no, don't do that. Um, I could hear him cackling over there
Yeah,
in the
yeah, I
other
heard
side
him
of the room
laughing
about
too
it.
in the back.
Yeah. Um, yeah, maybe let's see. Oh, so I have these speakers on my desk, and I don't remember what game I was playing, but I looked over my monitor, and he was over there with his little fingers jabbing the jabbing the cones out of the center of my speakers. And at the time, oh
Just
my god, I was so
exploring.
mad. I was so mad about
Yeah,
it, but, as they grow and as they get older, it's funny the things that you really think back and remember on, like, with a fondness, right? And, like, I could
yeah,
certainly buy new monitor speakers from my desk or whatever, but
yeah,
when I
and you
come
don't
over here
even
and sit
remember what was going on the game.
no, I don't even remember what the game was even, what I was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, I remember
Probably
the game.
Eve, but it might have been something else. But instead of buying those speakers, I keep them on my desk. They still work. They don't sound very good, but they still
Yeah.
work because every time I sit down, I look at them and I think, "Oh man, I remember when Knucklehead busted
Was
my high
that big,
dollar
took them out.
speakers." Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you could see him, like, right there, it's you
Yeah,
don't need
that's
the photo,
exactly what
man,
it's like.
the
That's
memory's in
exactly
your
what it's
head,
like.
yeah. Yeah, it's
And then this
beautiful,
other
man,
one, my subwoofer was on the floor. Actually, he and I were just talking about this like 3 days ago. And you know how there's the exhaust port on the front of a subwoofer, right? A powered subwoofer. Well, I think I was actually playing PlayStation at the time, which I haven't really played, uh, console games in a long time because, PC Master Race, right?
yeah,
Um, and he had it was like a
10
I don't
times the price.
yeah, 10 times the price, 12 times the fun. If
Yep.
you're okay with that relatively narrow
Maybe
margin,
okay with that, yep.
but, it was like I don't know, it was like this little robot. It was like a round robot thing that caused a bunch of noise, and he put it inside the powered subwoofer. Um,
Oh god.
oh, I was mad. I
So you
was
had a robot inside the subwoofer just rattling
yeah.
around or oh, man.
He's over there
It's that
laughing about it right now.
yeah, he could 'cause I would kinda
Yeah,
imagine his perspective, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's pretty good. Who knows, man, when he's holding up the stream, we could hear his perspective, So we could
yeah,
we could, bring up this episode, and then we could hear his side of the story,
yeah,
you know? So that'd be pretty good, man. Um, so what I like, I'm an artist, right? So
yeah,
when I notice moments in time, I like to appreciate it. But
right.
a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to explore art. But those speakers you have, right? Creating that memory
Yeah,
and it not being the photo of the memory, that exact speaker is art, right? So that's where a
yeah, I
lot
can
of
see
people are
that.
like, what is art? This, right? To nobody else but you and your son and your
Yeah,
family is
right.
that speaker art, And that is art, right? Perspective. Um, so I love stories like that, right? Like that's just my perspective of life. I really catch those moments, and I just wanted to let you know, like that is something that I really appreciate in life is those little things, man. I think
Yeah,
it's
because
magical.
I
So
mean, at the end, that's all we got is those moments, right?
that's
Life's
it, man.
just a
Memories,
long collection of
experiences,
moments.
you know. I haven't even seen, the face of your son, right? You don't let him on stream sometimes, sometimes he hops over or whatever, but I don't know who he is, but guess what? Now I have a story of him. And in 10 years, right, if I have a child, guess what? I'm going to tell him that story. So it's like those
Oh, yeah.
stories just they never end, man. They never end, and we don't even know the game. We don't even know
Yeah.
what game it was.
No.
So yeah, it's great, dude. I think that's incredible. Um, so gaming with kids, right? Does he like to watch you play? Has there ever been a game when he was, like smaller or something where he just sat on your lap or he sat next to you and he just watched you play, dude? Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
was glued to the screen or anything, kind of
Yep.
fun stories like that.
Yep. I mean, pretty early on, he decided that he wanted to beat dad at everything, right? So, um, once he was, old enough
The
to, like,
switch turned
mechanically
on.
do the thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
for sure. So, we've been doing battle ever since, you know, in a bunch of different ways, in a bunch of different games, so
Yeah, you always got that best friend and that rival at the same
oh,
time,
yeah,
huh?
for sure. For
Yeah, you
sure, my
got you
best
got all,
friend.
all of it at the same time, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
what more could a person ask for?
that's it. My dad is my best friend, right? And I didn't really realize that till I was about 27. I
Yeah.
realized it late and stuff. And it happens. And now, but I realized it, and obviously, I think every human being does when they realize that moment, and they
Yeah.
realize how late they were. and then they make up for it. I think every
Yeah.
man does when they finally do. Most of them have kids earlier than 27, and I don't have kids, right? So it
Mhm.
took me a little longer, I think. But he's my best friend, and I told him, obviously as a father, he stresses over success and stuff, right? He goes, I don't want you
Yeah.
retiring at 30. I laid down the pathway and everything. He goes, okay, fine. He didn't understand art, right? He doesn't understand value of
Mhm.
art, and it's fine. But I told him, I said, the only win in life is when your kids want to hang out with you when they're older.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yep.
matter, that I'm not living his dream. You know what I'm saying? That he wanted for me,
Yep.
right? I'm living a unique dream and stuff like that. And that moment was when we finally connected at an older age.
Right.
Was like, okay, like we understand, like this is it. Now we go on cruises once a year. We just says, screw it. So that kind of moment, man. And it's just, that's pretty awesome to just have that. Um,
Yep.
so when he watches, right, does he kind of catch on? Do you think that's where he learned how to be good? Was competing with you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't take all the credit. His mother game's pretty serious as well. She was
Oh
a
yeah.
Halo gal. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She was a Halo gal growing up, and she's super into Skyrim, which is a great game as well.
Oh
So
yeah, dude. I love playing
he
hardcore
was
Skyrim.
destined for games from the beginning.
Yeah, so we got a legacy in the making. That's what we're
Yeah, for sure.
okay.
For sure.
All right, dude. I like it. Um, so one thing too that I'm curious about with MMOs, because again, we kind of started playing at like 12 and 13. Maybe, that's
Yeah.
to me that's when World of Warcraft kind of came out.
Mhm.
Um, there was a lot of stuff on the media when we were those age about MMOs and the internet and stuff.
Yeah.
Nowadays, how do you feel? Um, the age group for the internet and stuff, and age appropriate games, and I know he plays right next to you, so you can like kind of hear what he says and who's talking to him, right? You're always got that
Yeah.
ear for him. But what age appropriate do you think is like MMOs? Because MMOs is kind of like a little bit bigger. You've got people that are a little more
Yeah.
personable,
Well, it's a
right, with the
difference in
time
scope,
and
right?
stuff. Yeah. Versus the quick game. You know what I mean? Where like people are
Right.
really hanging out with your son. It's some time consuming, details and stuff. So what age group or what time? What do you think is safe for MMOs nowadays? And because it's a different world than we were.
Yeah. Well, as far as safety on the internet's not safe for anybody. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can agree on that. But as far as an age for starting on MMOs, maybe 12 or 13, but I don't but it's more about the maturity level of the kids, I think, individually. They would be the determining factor on that. At least in he and I's situation, he doesn't play MMOs, but it's not because like he isn't mature enough for it or couldn't manage the game or whatever. His the pacing of play, right? His ideal pace of play is quite a bit faster than mine, and he just thinks that the games I play are kind of slow a little bit. So we're hoping.
Well,
Well, I'm hoping to get him into MMOs soon.
I could see also too, because was when I was in like fifth and sixth grade, I played chess a lot,
Hmm.
and the key to chess is to get rounds in and study. So like
Right.
repetition. So excuse me, I'm coughing a little bit. I could see how he wants to get those repetitions in, and that
Hmm.
really is like kind of what fast forwards that skill,
Yeah.
because we're learning a little slower at our age too, based on
Yeah.
like how often we like to learn. But
Yeah.
he's like ingesting all of it. So
Oh yeah, like a
maybe the
sponge.
fast-paced games, yeah, dude. So I think those fast-paced games, he's really hitting them hard. I think that's kind of the advantage of why the
Yeah.
kids talk shit to me now on shooters. So,
Oh,
um,
dude, he's a shit talker bad.
that's good, dude. That's really good.
Yeah.
Um, have
The
you
I think the last time I played Fortnite with him, right? Not really my bag, but that's about the time, right, with the kids. And the
yeah.
last time he asked me to play, he was like, "Dad, don't worry, my friends and I will carry you." I thought, "God, dang." I mean, he's right. Yeah, he's right. But
Yeah, yeah, but like
I was
hearing
like,
it in
"Damn it."
reality, like you already knew. You already
Yeah,
knew in your head,
yeah,
and
but it's
hearing it
different when
from
it's
his
out loud.
voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's different. Oh man, that's. I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Yeah, that's good, dude. Oh, did they successfully carry you, or did you hold yourself?
Oh no, they carried the shit out of me.
Oh, okay, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he was 100% on the mark for sure. They
Oh
carried
yeah.
me all the way through.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so did you get any revenge on him? Like, did you give him bad gaming advice, or like, what's the worst or like the best gaming advice you've ever given, uh, your
Yeah.
son, right? Like the
Well,
best
I'm
and
real
worst, you
careful.
know?
Well, I'm real careful not to give him bad advice if I can. Now, like,
Okay.
maybe knocking the controller out of his hand when we were trying to play something, I might
Yeah.
get him that way because old age and treachery is always more dangerous than youth and exuberance, But, um, probably the best advice that I'd given him on the gaming front is when people are talking shit, don't don't let it get to you, because you're playing a game to have fun, right? And as soon as you start getting all bent out of shape about whatever is going on, it ruins the fun, right? And then what's the point? So, as far
Yeah.
as gaming advice, that's probably the best one. And that
So
goes for adults
you're
as well. There's just as many adults that
yeah.
get pissed off and act a fool. But
Yeah, so I love what you said earlier. Like you really like the like immersion, right? And I think
yeah.
that it's so fascinating that that's the same lesson you're giving him. It's like yeah,
Yeah.
just immerse yourself in the game a little bit. Like Fortnite's fun, but like some of the other games like Wukong or like
Yeah.
Souls and stuff like that. Like they're genuine stories that have the NPCs and stuff. Like
Mhm.
I play hardcore mode on my game, so when I die, that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm forced to experience that and slow down. So I love that you're giving him the same advice because it's also what you love. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
obviously, son, father, right? Like you guys eventually are going to be extremely similar, right? Later in life, it doesn't
We're
really
super
change too
similar
much.
now.
Yeah,
Much
so
much
you already know
much to his
he's gonna enjoy
mother's
that stuff.
cringement, I'm sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine how that goes. But so you already know he's gonna want the immersion later.
Oh,
So
yeah.
giving him that advice, I think is probably the best advice, man. As you
Yeah.
said, I think that's great.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it'll be a lot of fun.
so yeah, I'm just I'm fascinated on gaming with a kid, man, and just a best friend.
It's
Um,
the best. It is the best.
Yeah, it's really gotta be, dude. But so about Ashes though, right? So we went over kind of your MMO history and stuff. Um, what race and class are you planning on playing, and why? That's the biggest one I think is why.
Yeah. So, I don't know, I'm pretty short, I'm like 5'7", right? So and I have this great big beard, so I'm pretty fond of dwarves in general. I think, like, dwarf lore is cool as
Five
hell.
5'7" is dwarf.
Well, that's what my friends tell me anyway.
That's it. You got some tall friends. I'm just,
Yeah, well, they're shit talkers, you
okay,
know?
okay, yeah,
But,
yeah. Military veterans.
um yeah. Oh, yeah, some of them,
Oh
most of
yeah,
them, I
dude.
would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. I'll give you some good lines back, dude. I'll give you some good stories to get
Yeah.
back at them.
Speaking of military veterans, I wanna shout out to Esoterium, my guild. We got a bunch of vets in there, a bunch of super good guys, a blast to play with. Um, Hilarious in Discord. So shout out to those guys and ESO, our fearless
Yeah.
leader.
Absolutely. I really enjoy Iso's little mini stories. I personally love the
Yeah, they're pretty
streamers that
dope.
have like a story in between, where they give me some side lore. So when I check into their stream, they have like a story that's updated. So I know that they play
Yeah,
different
that's cool.
games, but when I go check in on them, like every 2-3 months, I like to see what these streamers are doing and seeing how they're migrating. And some of them I watch quite a bit, but they have these side stories, like
Mhm.
these little TV shows off in the distance that I can kind of go off and enjoy. Um,
Yeah,
and I
almost
don't
like
know, it's kind of
subtext.
yeah, like subtext, like a second game or a second story to follow that's uniquely theirs, no matter what game they're playing. So it's really
Yeah,
nice, instead of other streamers just hopping between games and it's just, eventually they just talk to chat like a chat NPC. They don't actually talk to chat if they're people. And so I really, really enjoy his storytelling, man. It's really unique and I really like that. So again, the artist side, right? I gotta
right.
get passionate about it. So,
Yeah.
gotta notice those things too, man. And you guys have a promise, right? Not only just veterans, but ESO's kind of like culture for you guys is to always promise to somebody to have somebody to play with, right?
Yeah.
Like that's his foundation is you always have somebody to play with. And then as a streamer, he stays up what 24/7
Oh,
sometimes
yeah, if he's,
yeah.
If
So
the
he keeps that
realms are
promise.
online and he's awake, he's on it. Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so like he actually keeps the promise. Like that, I mean, that's professional gaming. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a man of his word. That's literally the fearless leader, as you
Yeah.
said, right? Like most people might compare that to skill. Okay, well that's their ego or their problem or their,
Yeah.
you know, perspective. But I mean that 24/7, dude, to keep a promise, man. And
Oh
then
yeah. He's crashed out on a cot
yeah,
on the stream, and he's in it to
yeah.
win it, man. If the servers are up.
I mean, if that's the guild you're a part of and you're creating something,
Yeah.
I can only imagine, you know, like both of you guys together,
Yeah.
what that's gonna make, man. Like I have goosebumps, dude. Like I'm actually like I have chills on my back, dude. Like really thinking about somebody that actually keeps a promise like that and having another one right now starting today. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty great, man.
I mean,
You know,
he
I
and
know
I.
Sentinel wants to do the stories, and this is, you know, this is the one. I think, you know, so I think it's pretty great.
Well, one thing that ESO and the rest of the guys over there in Esoterium really have in common is yes, the game mechanics for Ashes are awesome. Yes, the world is beautiful, and yes, it is huge. But it's all about the social aspect, right? Like that's the reason for playing MMOs, right? The social component to that, and it's a thing I think Steven is doing a great job um, of a great job of pushing. His mechanics support that really well, and um, it's all about the social experience, and it's all about making new friends and having people to play with anytime that you get a chance to play. And I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and I'm glad to be part of it.
Yeah, I just in a world today where people can just change their name on Discord and say whatever they want, or to see two guys sticking to their word, man, is pretty inspiring.
Hmm.
I have to say that. You know, I
Yeah, I
really
mean,
do.
because
So
because back in the day, in the MMOs, there wasn't any name changing. So you had to build a, especially at higher levels of play, you kind of had to build a reputation for not being a dick and knowing what you're doing. And I really
yeah,
enjoyed that aspect of it, and that's something that really kind of got lost in recent years, I think.
yeah, absolutely, man. Um, so what are you more interested in with you know, outside of creating this foundation with ESO and the community and, you know, finding some other leaders in their own niches and stuff? You know, really, you know, you guys are building an incredible, you know, foundation, right? Help each other out for purpose
Thank you.
instead of just actions. You know, I think
Yeah.
that's great. But what are you more interested in? PvP, PvE, economy, leading a guild, you know, the foundation, the streaming, you know, what are you more interested in, man?
So when I play a game, I like to
Or all of
experience
them,
all of it.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah.
like to experience all of it. Sometimes I'm down for the PvP and want to get into that, and then sometimes I really enjoy like the dungeons and the raiding and all that. It just kind of depends on the day and depends on what the people I'm playing with want to do. So that's a pretty big component to it as well. Because like you were talking about with ESO, if there's somebody online and they want to play, even if it's not necessarily the exact part of the game that I want to play, I like I said, it's what makes a game, specifically a multiplayer game, great is the people that you're in there with. Because 10 years down the road, you're not going to remember, oh, I got this one drop I was after. It's always the memories that we get from gaming are almost always um, related to the people that we're playing with, and I really want to lean into that. As far as the guild stuff and the node stuff, I think if you get a good, organized guild going, I think that by proxy that'll help with the node level up in game. And like I guess I just don't see those things as mutually exclusive, right? I think that they all work together pretty well, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I think a lot of MMOs have kind of kept players linear, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
explaining fluidity in teamwork is a little different, you know. Like
Hmm.
you could have an agreement with one guild saying PvP only on Saturdays and only in this area on the Riverlands, but everything else we're helping together. You know, like
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? It's all sports.
Right.
It's an arena. Let's have some fun.
Yep.
Yeah, so being fluid, I think, you know, that's an incredible thing to do. Um, if you had to choose, right, would you rather focus on building that node or kind of like leading the guild, right? And what I mean by that, to kind of be redundant, is if you only had time as, those parents and like you guys came to a vote, right? If you could be like mayoralship over saying leading that guild and kind of keeping a foundation of guilds together, or would you rather have that tight knit community and allied with guilds? Like, what do you think of that? Like the niche or kind of like that public, outward node model?
So I think it would depend on the overall um, the overall social, excuse me, weather, I guess, for lack of a better term, of the node you're playing in. But if I had to choose, I would go with I would rather work on a guild, you know what I mean? Get that core subset of players together working together to, do the thing, whatever the thing might be. So if I had to
Yeah, the
choose
goal.
between one or the other, I would go with the guild. It's a little bit
Yeah,
more
so
personal that way, and you get to know the people a little bit more closely. So,
yeah. So instead of, yeah, definitely go towards the people instead of like node development and stuff. I can see how a lot of people are going to be like, no, I want this node to be the best level. And then like I could see how some people are like, my guild wants to do this, you know?
hmm
And then obviously committing to the guild and politicals and stuff like that, man. So I
yeah,
definitely think that this guild needs more people that are focused inward on their guild. So I think, and that's from my personal experience throughout the game. So I think
yeah,
having somebody that's taken actions and that's pretty great too. Um, so with nostalgia and going experience, right? Talking about my
hmm
experience so far in Ashes, nostalgia looking back at MMOs.
yeah.
What's like the first MMO you've ever played? And then, how does that develop into Ashes? Like, what are your experiences there, and then your first time experience in Ashes?
Yeah, so probably the first one I ever played was World of Warcraft, and I'd tried a bunch of them, between then and now, but really the only two that stuck was EVE Online and World of Warcraft. And the problem was, so both of those games are 20 plus years old, and they're great games, but after, you know, 2 decades of playing the same game, it starts to get a little bit stale, right? And the mechanics get to be very samey, and there's a bunch of new mechanic styles in Ashes that I really enjoy, and it's more targeted at group play than solo play, and I think that it does that better than most of the MMOs out there, and I just really appreciate Steven's vision, and I think he really has a great idea, and I think it's going to be huge, right? And I'm glad to get in there at the bottom floor. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think, yeah, I can. I just, I'm still so fascinated that he's giving us this alpha, right? Because anybody could have just given us a completed game. And
Yeah,
when you look back at the 20 years of WoW, or however long WoW's been out now, yeah, up to 20 years maybe almost.
yeah, it's right
Um,
there somewhere, give or take a little.
you look back at the graphics, right? Well, instead of Steven saying, here's the best graphics day one, he's saying, here, come into alpha and look at what we're working with and watch how we
Yeah,
change the graphics. Like he's giving us that story instead of just
right.
revealing the curtain. He's allowing us to relive that experience that you just stated about, the game getting stale, but by
hmm
giving us a test and all, just so he's giving us the experience that that we want, which is the
Yeah,
game development and seeing the graphics and seeing the things
hmm
improve and remembering the stories, right?
yeah,
That he's giving us that, and that's more than what I think some of the testers are looking at. That immersion that you were talking about, that magic perspective that you have
hmm
on the MMOs. And I think, the community is so based inside the game that they're not realizing that Steven's giving us these stories and we don't have them yet because
yeah,
they're going to come in 2 years reviewing the content. And
yeah,
he's giving us the ability to see growth 2 years from now. He's giving us a gift in the future that we haven't even received yet, and he's
yeah,
shaping it for us. I think it's magical that you see that.
yeah,
And you even teach that lesson to your son, right? Like that
yeah.
same immersion that we just
Absolutely
talked
do.
about later, so you're passing that on. So Steven's dream to us to our experiences to the next youth of the generation, dude. I mean, that's energy transfer through video gaming. I mean, that's right. I mean, that's everything you just
Yeah,
explained, dude. And it's again the artist side, man. That's how I see it. I see that energy transfer of dreams and
right.
stuff. So, um, that's my favorite thing about MMOs is that thing. So, what's your all-time favorite MMO? All-time fave. If you can only
Mm,
play one, that whole question. If you only play one, gun to your head, right? What do you do?
yeah. Well, I mean,
All-time favorite
so
MMO.
well, it depends on when you would ask me, right? So 5 years
I
ago,
like
it
that
would be
time.
yeah, time because that's what it all comes down to, right? Is time. So 5 years
Yeah,
ago, if you would
when?
asked me, it definitely would have been Eve because I was way deep in Eve at that time, and some years before that, when I was in my Warcraft phase, it would have been that, and but right now it's Ashes of Creation, right? And
Yeah,
to
I have
piggyback on
played. Go ahead. Sorry, you cut out. I thought you were
to pick
you
to
were out. My
piggyback
bad.
on what we were talking about earlier, um, it's easy to forget that this is an alpha, right?
Very,
And
because of how
yeah,
good the combat is, I forget very
hmm
fast.
yeah, and like I know that in the community, burnout has been a matter of some discussion, um, but I think it's important to maintain the perspective that we're testers at this point. We're not necessarily players, even though that's the
Yeah,
vernacular that we use, right?
yeah.
And
So you can only get burnt
yeah,
out on a perspective. So if you're
right,
burnt out from testing, then you're testing a little too much. If you're burnt
yeah,
out from playing, it's probably because level 25 is not meant to be the market, the level cap for four
right,
months.
yeah,
Right? Like you're burnt out because we're not supposed to be at max gold at level 25 walking around in the best gear versus people that just got the game 3 days ago.
right,
Right? So everybody is a little on edge on that, and they're not coordinating those events for testing. You know,
right,
by having that Discord and the coordination you're talking about, you would say, "Hey guys, today we're going to test this," and then
hmm
you guys can make that event, and it's just like a raid or a PvP duel night,
yeah,
but that event becomes what? Testing,
hmm
because we're testers.
right. And
Absolutely, I
I
think you're spot on.
I enjoy the process of playing in an alpha, right, or of testing in an
Yeah,
alpha, because I want because what other chance do we really have to have a legitimate effect on the game that we want to play? You know, that's
yeah. Well,
super
even
super cool to me.
even now, like right now, I'm looking at your stream, and we've got a book with like the fire enchant that's floating around, right?
Hmm.
Eventually we might get better graphics to where that's an actual fire and the book can open up and the pages turn to embers. Like we don't know how much detail they're going to put into that. I
Yeah.
know that they're probably going to put more detail in those characters than they do that environment because that's what I pay attention to.
Hmm.
I don't care about environment. Like Steven said, the graphics make those systems better, but they do such a good job keeping you immersed in your character that I feel like
Right.
I'm piloting this character.
Yeah. Which is what you're
Um,
supposed to feel like, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, like fluid, like I
Yeah.
don't even think really. My fingers kind of move, the character moves the way I want it to and think. I don't have to, it's not clunky. Um, I forget I'm testing too when I start getting in combat. I
Oh,
really
it's easy to
do.
do. It's super easy to do.
It's so easy, man. Yeah. Um, so, combat and all that stuff, man. Have you ever rage quit or have you ever quit an MMO because life got too busy? And then if you did, I'm curious because the way I game is very different. I either game competitively or for, a solo hardcore experience. I'll get my candy
Hmm.
bars, my Coke, I'll, right,
Hmm.
set the night aside, turn the lights off, play Dead Space on hardcore or something, right? Um, so what brings you back to games? Because I don't go back to games usually. When I play competitively, that's it. I leave my mark on that character and I go to something else and I do another gamer tag, I leave my little mark you know
Yeah.
I just don't go back. That's just not my style. I like the hardcore
Sure.
play. So what is yours? Like what brought you back to something?
Well,
That's
specifically
a new
for
for me.
MMOs, um, it's the social experience that I miss, right? Like I went back and because I also enjoyed like the hardcore game style, um, which this might be a good time to say, uh, we have a hardcore playthrough going on right now, so keep an eye out for videos and streams on that. That's something that you're
Yeah.
into, but,
Yeah, that
um
we almost died in the last 3 minutes, so
yeah,
um
that was
you
really
have to
close.
watch. Yeah, I was surprised you know, that it was that intense in the first 3 hours. I thought we were just gonna kill some pigeons and some rats and a
Yeah,
typical MMO quest, you know,
yeah.
and nobody else died to exoskeleton, so
Oh, I'm really bummed
yeah.
that my footage, got corrupted and I couldn't post it for, for the viewers, but,
Yeah. I've got
we'll do
mine and
better moving forward.
yeah, well, I've got mine, and we can download it, and we get the file share, and we'll do that. Because that's what I mean, that's what TV
Yeah.
as a team's about, man.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
helping each other with time,
Yep.
and that's I think people are missing that. Like we were talking about the in-game stuff,
Mhm.
testers and doing that. I think people miss that because the more time they spend in-game, the less memories they're gonna have next wipe, right?
Right.
That's how it goes. I mean, you have memories to talk about, that's fine, but like what are they carrying over through the wipes?
Mhm.
What are they carrying over to experience again, right?
Yep.
Like you said, the immersion. So I think the true testers are doing that. Like the real testers are
Yeah.
like, trying to start their stream. Some of them wanted to wait until NDA released to see if this game was good, and you have to
Mhm.
respect that, right?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And I think a lot of the guys that are coming up like that are really, starting to see that aspect, man. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, So, let's see. We went over. Have you ever quit? Life got too busy. That's it,
Yeah.
right? I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what we wanted to cover, man. So those are some of the
Yeah.
questions we want to ask some of the chatters, too, right? Like we want to bring
Yeah,
them
sure.
in and kind of have them add some questions. So again, in the comments, chatters, ask away. We're gonna work on a Discord together. That way,
Yep.
all these little, kind of side shows and stuff that we're working together. Everybody will have a Discord to go to and see Dad and ESO and stuff and some others that
Yeah.
want to join in.
Yep.
Kind of
Can't
something
wait to hear
one
from
stop
them.
shop. Yeah, one stop shop for them. So um, as we get that together, I want the viewers to really kind of be encouraged to come in and co-stream. Replace me, right? Maybe a couple of you guys come in, maybe a gaming couple that games with
Yeah,
their kids
that'd be cool.
come in and you know, maybe we can get them all together, man. So I'm gonna pass the torch to you. I'm gonna head out, and I appreciate you having me, man. I appreciate that we
Hey,
got this
thanks
this
for
going
coming.
for
It's
you.
been a blast.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited, man. Honestly, I
Yeah.
really, really want to see this history, right? Like I want
Mhm.
like a really good MMO history channel kind of style, dude. Like I mean, I would watch the out of that. Like I really would, dude. I would just leave it on when I go to sleep, just so I could learn about it as I go to sleep. I really would.
Hell yeah.
So
Hopefully learn a little
I'm
bit
excited
through
for it.
osmosis.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, dude.
Let's
So
soak it
thanks
in.
again. Yeah, thanks again, Dad,
Yeah, it's
man.
been a blast. I'm
Appreciate
glad
you
you're
having
here.
me. So, all right,
Hey,
all
thanks,
right.
man.
I'll see you.
Yep.
Yep.
See you, buddy. Well, I think we're going to wrap episode 1 of Dads of Creation. Thanks for checking this out. Like, follow, subscribe, do the things. One more thing before we go. I'd like to do a shout out to Adeptus Guilds at adeptusguilds.com. They're going a long way towards helping us get everything put together. Let's build this community. Can't wait to hear from you.